Hey everybody, would you believe it? We're back with another episode of Wild Ride with Steve-O, and this one's special because I have been performing in comedy clubs for over a decade now. And whenever I've been in the comedy club and Kevin Nealon takes the stage, I am just giddy because he's so incredible, man. And that's all I want to say. Enjoy this one because he is a legend of Saturday Night Live. He is a legend of stand-up comedy. And here he is. Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Nealon. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you. I would like to introduce you to my co-host, Scott Randolph.
How you doing, Kevin?
Hey, Scott.
We're both huge fans of yours. You might also hear a voice coming from off camera. That is Paul Brisky.
Hey, Kevin, how are you?
Hey, Paul. Yeah, that sounds like Paul.
Yeah.
That's me, all right.
Everybody's got nicknames. Paul is Young Cunt. That's his name. And Scott is International Star.
I've been everywhere.
We really are big fans, and it's an honor to have you. So thank you.
Thanks, Steve-O.
Now,
Thanks, buddy.
every time I go into one of these, it seems I want to do some research, and I just feel like a stalker. You know, like how about that? I've been stalking you online, and I feel creepy for that. But I'm filled with questions, as we all are, and we're dying to know about this wiretapping situation.
First of all, where are you right now?
We're actually in the Hollywood Hills. You know,
So you're traveling all over the country then, huh?
we do.
You probably passed it while you're doing your hiking show. We're kind of close to the area where you usually go.
Maybe. Yeah, so which wiretapping are you talking about?
Right, there were two wiretapping things that we read about. One now, I mean, I said, we have this in common. We're animal rights people. We love animals.
That's right. Yeah.
And thank God I've got Wendy. This is Wendy. I rudely didn't introduce her.
Oh, hi, Wendy.
Yeah. So it had to do with animal activism. One of these wiretapping.
Well, one of them did. The other one had to do with a case between my friend Gary Shanling and our manager Brad Gray, where we were being wiretapped by a private investigator that was hired by somebody's lawyer.
Wow.
And I always kind of felt like we were being wiretapped because I could hear the tapping. And I said, Gary, it sounds like we're being wiretapped. Anybody's listening to us, enjoy.
Well, you know, I feel like that was maybe a bad first question because here we are. We're already into the weeds. Yeah.
But he went to prison. I'm blanking on his name right now. But he went to prison and he just got out a couple months ago.
Oh, how about that?
Serving about 10 years or whatever. I don't know.
Wow.
Was it the end of his sentence or was it like a COVID release? Got you.
Trump pardoned him.
Yeah.
No, so he's out now. And then the other wiretapping allegedly was from Barnum and Bailey Circus because I had been doing some protests with animal rights groups and they were trying to, undermine us. Or whatever.
Right. My career began as a circus clown.
Did it really?
Yeah. I went to the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Clown College, which was very prestigious to get into. But while we were there, and I have this crazy memory, in Clown College, there was a visit from the public relations department of the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. And they said, congratulations on making it into Clown College. Now, some of you are going to work for the greatest show on earth, the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. And what that's going to entail is a lot of press. You know, you're going to go and advance the circus and when you're doing interviews, some people are going to ask you about animal abuse in the circus. And if and when that happens, they said, you shut up. You have no opinion. You fall down. You're a clown. Your job is not to speak on this. And I remember thinking, man, the way they're talking about this, it seems like this circus is doing something wrong with animals. That was where my journey began, and I too spoke out against animals in the circus. For a PETA, it was a public service announcement, a campaign, and maybe I was being wiretapped, but it was hard to tell because I was on so many drugs. I was
That
having all
everything's
kinds
tapping.
of everything. Yeah, there's all kinds of hallucinations going on. Like, there was a lot of crazy stuff happening. I wouldn't. I think.
So did you end up working for the circus?
I didn't work for the Ringling Circus. They didn't want me.
They said we need you to wiretap Kevin Nealon.
Right, I didn't work.
You
for
ended
the
up working for Circus Vargas in Las Vegas.
No, I am a fan of Circus Vargas, and my old boss clown from Clown College was the head clown from that. He ran that whole show. But no, I worked for a different circus at a flea market in South Florida. True story. It was a flea market, and
Or in Tampa?
not Fort Lauderdale, it was called the Hannaford Family Circus at the Fort Lauderdale Swap Shop, and they, I do believe, got shut down for animal abuse. They had these 3 elephants and a tiger, and my firsthand experience, I felt that those animals were in a terrible situation. So I applaud you, Kevin.
Thank you, buddy. Yeah, you too, man. I think every kid wanted to go to clown school at one point or another.
Yeah.
But you actually did it, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's obvious the abuse that those animals suffered, and now they don't even use elephants anymore. I think, and all those circuses I think are shut down.
Right. The
Yeah.
Ringling Brothers went out of business completely. There is
Yeah.
no more Ringling Brothers Circus, and I don't know that there, at least in America, I don't think there are any circuses that have animals anymore. And
No, I mean, I love Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah.
You know?
They're going out of business too.
sadly, Cirque du Soleil,
Are they really?
yeah, Cirque du Soleil filed for bankruptcy and shut down their operations.
Well, I think a lot of people will file for bankruptcy now and they'll go out of business, but once this pandemic is over, they'll regroup and come out with another name and get back into it again, probably.
I have friends at Cirque du Soleil. I'm a big circus guy, and apparently, well, the guy who started, his name was like Guy de Liberty or somebody, the Guy somebody, and he sold Cirque du Soleil to a big corporate entity, and now apparently, with everything going on in the pandemic, the original guy might be buying back the circus, which I think is a pretty beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
So speaking of the pandemic, have you done any of these drive-in shows? Have you done any, like, what's...
I opened for a friend of mine, Brad Paisley, in Nashville, in the parking lot of the Nissan Arena.
Nice.
And it was like 700 cars. And they would checkerboard park them so that the people can get out and they could stay in that square in between the other 3 or 4 cars. And they had to wear masks. So it was all really, well done and safe. And everybody on the stage, wore masks and, stayed their distance. But it was really interesting because it's not like a comedy club where you have a low ceiling and you can hear all the laughs. And the cars go all the way back, all the way back. And people are not even that close to the stage to begin with. And so you're kind of playing to like a couple of groups in the front row. And you can't even hear the rest. But you assume that they're laughing, and it takes a while for the laugh, so you wait in between jokes.
Wow.
And so when they laugh, are they like flickering their headlights, or are they honking, or are they...
You
just
know,
don't know.
that was my big fear. Because I even get that in comedy clubs. Hey, they were very courteous. Courteous, yeah. And they, I think they beeped a couple times when I was done. Just as like an applaud.
Yeah.
And but it was really fun to watch that. And I have some videos of it. It's pretty cool.
I don't know if I don't know. I mean, it'd be interesting to have the experience. Jim Jeffries was telling us that
The Magic Castle?
that they're doing it at the Magic Castle here. And
That's right. I think the Comedy Store, through the Comedy Store or something. Magic
Right.
Castle.
yeah.
Who would have thought how valuable parking lots would have been?
Yeah.
I think that they've been actually the parking lot business has done well at all times.
Steve-O, it looks like you've kind of been on vacation for a couple of months in your RV.
Yeah.
You're so chill. You got your dog laying on your lap there. Obviously,
Yeah.
he trusts you.
Yeah, this is the dog that I found in the streets of Peru.
Really? What were you doing in Peru?
I was mountain climbing with the UFC Hall of Famer Chuck Liddell and a number of other personalities. It was a little bit like a mountain climbing operation motivated by Dancing with the Stars. I was sort of mountain climbing with the stars, and
It's funny you should say that because literally minutes before I came in and sat down to connect with you, I was watching Free Solo.
Oh wow!
amazing.
I saw it in the theater twice. I
I
just
wonder if they could play that against the wall of El Capitan outside. But that's like a horror story for me. That's my scariest horror movie, is watching that.
yeah. Oh no, I get it. I mean that guy is incredible. I saw it in the theater twice and I cried
I've never
both
even
times.
seen it once.
It's an amazing. It's like he's not gonna die the whole time, but it's still like
I know it. I rewatch it and I still get afraid.
Yeah.
It's like when I rewatch a Muhammad Ali fight. Like an old fight of Muhammad Ali against Foreman or something where I know he loses. I'm still cheering him on. I say, get him! You gotta get him!
Yeah.
You're gonna lose.
Right. I think it won the best documentary Oscar, if I'm not mistaken.
The thing that was frustrating for me, which maybe is why he is so successful at what he did, was that he didn't let his emotions take him over. At the end, I would have been bawling like a baby at the top of that,
Right.
But he was like with his girlfriend, don't say that. You might make me cry.
Right.
I thought, man, do you know what you just did? You risked your life. You scared everybody.
Right.
And, you accomplished it.
Yeah, it's crazy how, like, the guy's a hero for doing that. In my view, he's a hero, but he did really risk his life. I mean,
He's like evil. He's like an Evel Knievel kind of guy.
Right. And then, I don't know if you saw anything about it, but just a couple weeks ago, I did this publicity stunt where I was duct taped to a billboard in Hollywood. It couldn't have been more safe. It was the opposite of Free Solo. I was clipped on in five different carabiners, clipped with straps that were rated for 5,000 pounds of weight, and duct taped. I mean, nothing could have possibly gone wrong.
Yeah.
Everybody went crazy.
What was the publicity stunt for?
It was for I've self-released a multimedia comedy special on my own website. It's very explicit, and as I perform stand-up comedy, the stories I'm telling are illustrated by actual footage, which is edited into it, which I was pretty excited about.
Oh, nice.
And
has it come out yet?
it's on my website, steveo.com. Yeah.
Did that help the Billboard stunt? Did it help sell tickets?
It did. it really did. I invested a great deal of money in that, more than I've ever spent on anything in my life, and I got it all back. So it's actually in the profit zone.
And you bought this RV.
Right, I actually bought the RV beforehand, but thank God, because
So was the gist of it to see how long Steve-O could stay taped to the Billboard before it lets him loose?
not before it lets me loose, but it was more of an exercise. I thought it would either be a very quick ordeal where, like the authorities show up and sort of put their foot down and make it stop, or it would be a sort of a nod to David Blaine, where I stayed up for like an entire week, which I was prepared to do. I went up there wearing a diaper.
How long were you up there?
About an hour and 45 minutes.
You still have the diaper on?
I don't still have it on now, but I did have it for the whole hour and 45 minutes. Yeah.
Was this a billboard you rented, or
I
did you just kind of guerrilla style?
I did. I went. It was a billboard that I rented, and it said my name on it and everything. It said that my very naughty multimedia special was available at steveo.com. Said it right there on the billboard.
I gotta check it. I gotta check it out, man.
Yeah, hey man, I'd be happy to send you a secret screener link, which I sent to the media. I'm really quite
I'll
pleased.
buy a ticket. I'll pay for it and I'll watch it.
Well, how about that, man? I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, you went on the Billboard. You wore diapers.
Right. And actually, I can do it. It will have already happened, but the fire department showed up. And I had my construction team, my rigging team, go straight to them and say, hey, this is very safe, and we've got our own cranes. We can get them down at any time. And they said, well, we can't let that happen. So the fire department quickly got me down. And now because because I just hate that they had to do that, I've got a fundraising effort where I've printed many copies of this fantastic shot of me on the billboard, and I'm signing them all for charity. It's kind of a cool
nice,
thing.
man, nice. Were you fined?
Not
Yeah, don't jinx it just yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Yeah, there were no charges, there were no fines. So far, so good.
I guess you can't get a permit to take yourself to a billboard, huh?
Well, you can buy the billboard.
Oh, but you were renting it.
Well, right, I was renting it, and there wasn't anything in the rental agreement that precluded me from doing what I did. I did have it looked over by an attorney.
Maybe they'll add that now, though. Like,
Oh, dude,
also,
they
you
already
cannot
did.
attach yourself to this billboard.
Right. They
And when they were taking you down, were there a lot of people on the ground watching?
Oh,
There were.
dude, it showed up on the Citizen app where all of a sudden I got a notification on my phone saying, man, duct takes himself to a billboard. And you look at it, and it's streaming 700,000 people watching this.
I mean, I think there was a cumulative total at the end of the ordeal of 700,000 people had viewed it, but not all at once.
I don't know.
It's kind of like Free Solo, but more like Free Steve-O.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Man, I love your comedy. You know, you did that show at the Laugh Factory. I believe it was on Tuesday nights with Kevin
Yeah.
Nealon. It was a great format. There's this.
New material night where comics come in and they do a little bit of stand-up, try some new stuff, and then we sit down and we just kind of chat.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a great format. I remember at that time, that was probably 2012, maybe 2013. And I had been, touring with the same material, and I was just, you get in your comfort zone where you're kind of reeling off the same material. It gets a little bit stale, a little bit boring, the experience of it. And I just made a deal with myself. I'm gonna do 10 minutes new material, for better or for worse. If it goes terribly or whatever, I put it on my calendar and I stuck to it. And that was the night when I came and performed with you. And I had
Really? Well, that's cool.
yeah, and I got a bit out of our sit down chat that I never even
That's
thought
awesome,
to do.
Man. I'm glad I've gotten so much material from that night because it's more of a condensing what we used to do when we were just starting out in stand-up, where you hang out in the clubs all night and then you go to like Cantor's Deli or something and sit down and just chat and try and riff and come up with material. And now like we have families and stuff, we don't have that time, so it's kind of like a Cliff Notes of that, where you just do stand-up and then you sit down and chat and then that's it.
Yeah. Oh, it was great.
And
But
this
I've always been I've always admired you too, because coming from Jackass, I thought, oh, this guy is like just really looking for thrills, because first he did all that physical stuff and now he's doing stand up. And but you always seem to like have that enjoyment factor that it's just you loving what you're doing, even if you're hurting yourself, you're loving it.
Well,
but with the
thank you.
stand up, with the stand up, at least now you're kind of more focused in on this type of a craft, and it's been fun to watch you kind of your career.
Well, hey, I
set up.
appreciate that a lot, Kevin. And I always say that in everything I do, I'm motivated by the just pure attention whoring. If there's such a thing as a super whore, that's how I am. And yeah, it's like, man, I've always appreciated your support. Coming from Jackass and then starting to do stand-up comedy, there's a little bit of a sense of self-consciousness where, am I going to be accepted by stand-up comedians? Am I going to be accepted by the people, by the fans? Are they going to sign off on this? And, I didn't let it slow me down. I just kept going for it. I kept working hard, and here I am 10 years into a comedy tour, and so grateful that I just went for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so awesome, man. Congratulations.
I'm
So
curious
great.
to go to the beginning of your career, Kevin. Like we were watching you on Carson and all that. What was that like doing Carson?
Oh man, it was really the highlight of my career. More so than Saturday Night Live or Weeds or any of those shows.
Man, listening to Kevin Nealon describe the highlight of his career, you can just tell it means so much to him. And you know what means so much to me? Football's back, baby. The NFL. And I don't know what it's going to be like to watch the NFL during a pandemic, but I know for darn sure that DraftKings wants to give you a shot at winning millions in cash prizes. That's right. I teamed up with DraftKings to tell you about this offer, right? Now, how does it work? You go and download the DraftKings app. You use the promo code STEVO. You put together your dream team, being careful to stay under the salary cap, all right? Now, when you make your first deposit, you automatically get a shot at winning millions in cash prizes. Plus, one person's definitely going to win a full $1 million. There's like so many millions, okay? So, again, download the DraftKings app, put together that team, and get ready to win. Are you ready to win? Yeah. All right. Now, Kevin Nealon.
Because it's what I aspired to do, was to get on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, to be a stand-up. So, when I first moved from Connecticut to Los Angeles, I would hang out. I was about 23. I would hang out at the comedy clubs. I lived at the Improv on Melrose pretty much, and I became a bartender there. But I used to go to the Tonight Show taping a couple times a week in Burbank. And they would give out tickets earlier in the day to people. Everybody got 2 tickets. I knew that they weren't always using the tickets. So I go up and down the line. Says, does anybody have an extra ticket? And I'd always get one because I was alone. And then I go in there. It was like watching a Vegas show. Johnny would come out. I knew the exact routine they did. Fred DeCorb, the producer, would come out. And then Johnny would come out and do a little talk. And I knew all the band members, what they looked like. And so, and as a comic, you audition for that show, several times at least before you get accepted. And it's always the nerve-wracking when the talent, coordinator is in the audience at the comedy club looking at somebody else, because some comics don't want him to see you because they don't feel like they're ready yet, So, but I remember auditioning for him a couple of times, and I would have sweat coming out of me where it never came out of me before, like running down the back of my legs, So in a nutshell, what happened was, I had been doing stand-up for about 4 years.
Wow.
From nothing, from first getting on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And he was also working for a Mike Nesmith comedy show, sketch show, that he was casting. And Mike Nesmith used to do The Monkees. And so I thought to myself, well, I'm not going to do what I think is good for the Tonight Show, because obviously he didn't pick me before. I'm going to do what I think is really funny. So I did a bit that I used to do, was the choices. Would you rather this, or would you rather do that? The real gross, choices,
mm-hmm.
which is a game we always do growing up. And he calls me the next day. He said, well, I have good news and bad news. You're not right for the Mike Nesmith show, but I think you'd be great on the Tonight Show with that bit. Can you do it on Monday? And this was like Friday. And I thought, yeah. So from that minute on, I was going over that 5 minutes in my head. Like, we could be talking to each other right now, and you'd think I was listening to you, but really I'm going over that act in my head. I'm going over my act. It was, you had to think about your wardrobe. What are you going to wear? And I remember seeing Ted Danson on there once, and he had these khaki slacks on and a burgundy jacket with a tie. I thought, that looks pretty cool. I think I'll wear that. So the day comes, I go out there, I pull into the lot. I'm so scared. I drive by Johnny Carson's Corvette or whatever it was parked in the spot.
Mm-hmm.
And I walk in and I go into my green room, and I'm so nervous. I'm so scared. And I go into makeup before the show starts, and Johnny stops by, sticks his head in there, and he goes, good luck on the show today. And I go, oh my God, this is Johnny Carson. Because at the time, that was the only talk show around, really. That was the meat and potatoes back then.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in my dressing room waiting. I think Michael Landon was the lead guest. And then they come and get me, and they bring me to the back, by the curtains. And I said, I can't believe I'm doing this. This is a show I came to watch so many times in person. And now I'm the one behind the curtain. And I'm going over my act in my head, and the talent coordinator's trying to loosen me up. He's dancing around. He's really a klutzy guy, but he's trying to make me laugh. And I'm focusing on my act. And then Johnny, the band stops. They come back from commercial. Johnny starts introducing me. Oh, this next gentleman, he's very absurd, and I can't believe he's introducing me. And then the band plays, the curtain opens up. As I'm heading out to my mark on the stage, I completely went blank. I couldn't remember my act at all. Nothing. And as soon as the last applause stopped, it came to me, thank God. And I started doing my act. And I was getting laughs. And I was so excited. I could hear Johnny laughing behind me. And I was so nervous. I got cotton mouth, where my mouth got so dry. Like when I smiled, my lip would stick to my gum up there, you know? And I didn't want to lick it, because then I think people know I'm nervous if I lick it. They know I have cotton mouth, you know? So I just adjusted with the bottom lip, you know? I rubbed that up a little bit. You know? I was doing everything I could. And I was getting applause breaks, and it ended. And I couldn't, you know, I was outside of my body thinking, I'm doing the Tonight Show right now with Johnny Carson. And it ended, and I thanked everybody. Johnny gives me this thing, and I walk back to the curtains, and he's back there, the talent coordinator, and he's smiling. He goes, you did great, you did great. He said, stick around. I think Johnny's going to want to talk to you on the couch.
Wow.
I said, no way. He goes, yeah. He said, just riff it out there. Riff it. You got plenty of stuff. So he brings me back after the commercial, and we chatted on the couch, and, you know, I had a couple more strong jokes that I used, and I've never felt a bigger natural high than that.
Shit.
I bet.
How many people?
I did it before it aired, and I was praying there'd be no, disaster where it would be preempted, you know. And then I watched it at my friend's house with he and his wife, and it was a bad choice of outfits. I looked like an usher, you know. I looked like a page.
Yeah.
And I knew, because I hung out at the Improv all the time, that everybody at the Improv would watch a comic on the TV over the bar. You know, everybody would be quiet. And they watch, especially if it was their first shot on the Tonight Show. And I knew they were all down there watching it. And to this day, I still have a tape from my voice message machine of all the comics that called me and said how much I killed.
We heard you talking about collecting tapes from answering machines.
I do have some that I saved. It's mostly, it's that, and also girlfriends that would break up with me. I would save the tape. And one time I actually used it because I had auditioned for a McDonald's commercial, and I had to cry. And I had just broken up with a girl, an actress. We'd gone out for 6 months, but I was devastated. I always got so devastated when somebody let me go. And so I go in for this audition for McDonald's, and it was for a Big Mac. And there was like 4 casting people. It was like American Idol, the judges. They're sitting behind a table. And I had the script memorized. And when it got to the part where I had to cry, it was effortless. And I started sobbing like a baby. And I'm doing the lines. And they're all like, God. They were felt so bad for me. You know, it was so believable. Because I was hurting. And so I got a call back like 4 weeks later. Now I'm kind of over the girl, you know, kind of over her. So I'm sitting outside, and I brought her 8x10 with me and one of those voice recording tapes of her breaking up with me to try to bring it back.
Wow.
But I couldn't bring it back. She screwed me again. Twice she screwed me.
Yeah. That's funny.
There, that's it. So, what year was it when you did that Johnny Carson for the first time?
This was back in the 1900s, Steve. This was in 1984.
Yeah.
1984. And I still, to this day, I have, like, I don't know if you do this on your iPhone, your messages, if you have something that's kind of endearing to you, whether it's family or friends or even a celebrity, you save the tape and then you put it like on your iPad or something, the voice. So I have hours of like messages from people. My mother died a couple months ago, and I occasionally lay in bed and just listen to her messages, that I saved. So wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, man.
You're one of the only people that I know that actually hung out with Andy Kaufman. What was he like? Was he like how he was on the movie when Jim Carrey played him, or was he different, or how was he hanging out with him when you did?
If you don't know about Andy Kaufman, I'll tell you, he was a crazy SOB. And you know what else is crazy? How darned comfortable my bed is. Because my mattress came from helixsleep.com. And man, sleep's important. Are you getting enough sleep? And are you getting good enough sleep? Because I am telling you, you're going to sleep better if you go to helixsleep.com/Stevo, where you can get up to $200 off of any mattress order, plus 2 free pillows with any mattress order. And dude, these Helix sleep.com pillows are the most comfortable thing in the world. So yeah, I mean, I just wanted to tell you from my bed how darn comfortable my bed is and how good I'm sleeping. So again, get up to $200 off of any mattress order plus 2 free pillows if you go to helixsleep.com/Stevo. That's right. Now let's hear about that crazy SOB.
Well, I didn't really hang out with him as a friend. I hung out with him because, like I said, I would spend a lot of time at the Improv on Melrose. I bartended there for 2 years, and then I just basically lived there to become a comic. And so I saw everybody in there. Robin Williams would come from doing Mork and Mindy in his suspenders still and the buttons. He'd go right on stage, and Steve Martin and Albert Brooks, all these guys would come down there.
Yeah, wow.
And Andy Kaufman, who was, the 3 guys that influenced me the most to get into stand-up was Steve Martin, Albert Brooks, and Andy Kaufman, because they were each so unique, and you always had you guessing, what they were going to be doing next. So I would see him in there. He's kind of an odd guy, and I knew he was into TM, Transcendental Meditation.
Uh-huh.
So outside of the Improv one night, he was leaning against the wall, and I asked him, I said, "Hey, Andy," I said, "Well, I'm thinking about getting into TM. Can you tell me something about it?" And that was like the perfect question, because he just talked about it for like a half an hour. And I was barely listening to what he was saying. I was just looking at his mouth moving and the moles on his face kind of, going up and down like slow motion. And, but he was an interesting guy. You never knew the first time I went to the Improv, I was sitting, at the bar, and I was looking in the mirror, and to my left was Marty Feldman. I don't know if you know him, but he was a great comic, British comic. And on my right was this guy who said he was the original Ronald McDonald clown. And turns out later he was messing with me. He was Bob Zamuda, who was Andy Kaufman's right-hand man.
Oh, amazing.
He's like his idea guy. He was
the
ref in a lot of the wrestling things that Andy Kaufman did. In fact, one time he called me and asked if I would be a ref in one of Andy Kaufman's wrestling. But I think I had a gig that night, so I couldn't do it.
Wow.
Probably better that way.
Yeah.
And then another thing I heard, when you came here out of college, did you really play football? Were you really trying to be the punter or the kicker? Were you the quarterback?
I never played football in high school, but we played neighborhood sandlot pickup games.
Yeah.
We had shoulder pads and helmets, and we were serious about it. And we would play these gangs from across town on the high school football field, like on a Sunday when nobody was playing. And we had no refs, so it was just really kind of a free-for-all. So I was a good player, and I had a good arm, and I was a good kicker. And my buddy comes to me one day. This is like I was just about ready to graduate college. He goes, "Hey, Kev, Fairfield University has a club football team. All you have to do is take a night course to qualify to play on the team. Do you want to play?" I said, "Yeah." So we took a course in criminology that we went to 3 times, and we got on the team. And the starting quarterback got hurt, so I got to be quarterback. And it was like the time of my life. And he was an offensive lineman, and I became the kicker and the punter. And it was a great season. They'd never won games before, and we started winning games, And then the next spring season, we go back there to try out again, and the coach calls us in. He goes, "Guys, you got to take 12 credits to play." I guess some of the other players were complaining because they weren't getting to play. And we were like a couple of ringers, So I wanted to do stand-up in LA. So my game plan was to come out here. I had like 6 USFL footballs. That was the league at the time. It was the United States Football League. It was similar to the NFL, but the balls were a little bit lighter, and I don't think maybe there was 90 yards. And so I was practicing kicking at Fairfax High, like every day. And I thought, I'm going to try out. I'm going to be a walk-on for the LA Express as a punter. And that'll be a good gimmick for my stand-up, too. Not only is the comic, but he's also the kicker for the LA Express. Give him a hand, Luckily, my career started taking off before there was tryouts. So I never ended up trying out for it.
That's cool. And you started doing Saturday Night Live in '86?
Yeah, 86. I never, all I wanted to do was stand-up. That's all. I didn't want to be an actor or, a sketch player. I just wanted to do stand-up comedy. That was my thing. And occasionally Saturday Night Live would come rolling through LA looking for cast members, you know, Lorne Michaels and the crew. And you had to have a really high-powered agent to get an audition, or they had to hear about you or be with the Groundlings or something. And so I knew I would never get on that show, and I never aspired to get on that show. I was like, I thought, wow, that's got to be a crazy show to be on.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I was roommates with Dana Carvey. He kind of shared the apartment garage when he was in town. He rented it. He lived in San Francisco, and we used to hang out a lot, and I'd see him in the clubs. And he got selected to be on the show that summer, and he recommended me when he got there. And so that's how I got my audition.
And he started out as a writer?
Started out he offered me a job as a writer and a feature player, and guaranteed me 7 shows out of the 22. And so, I just went there. I had to learn how to write sketches and learn how to do characters. And I basically just wrote myself into everything. So I was on every show. And then the next year they said, you could stay a writer and get the writing credit, or you could be a cast member and not get any writing credit. So I said, I'll take the cast member, and I kept writing like everybody does there, but I just wasn't getting credit after that.
Was there a turning point where you started to really enjoy it? Like, oh, I actually do like doing sketches and writing these things and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I really enjoyed the opportunity. I enjoyed living in New York City and working with all these great people every week. But I remember the first sketch I did was Mr. Subliminal.
Mm-hmm.
I would insert words into my dialogue and try to get people to see it my way, And I remember right before I was about to go on, here I am at 30 Rock, I'm in Studio 8H, and it's Saturday Night Live, and the people are in the bleachers, and it's now my turn to do my sketch. 5 seconds away, coming out of commercial, Lorne Michaels, the producer, comes up to me, and he puts his hand on my shoulder, and he goes, "Are you sure this is what you want?"
Wow.
Yeah. But it was a thrill for me. I loved doing it, and I loved writing, and I became really good at writing sketches and coming up with characters, and it was a real thrill for me. I did it for 9 seasons.
Is it true that Lorne Michaels, you'll get fired if you kind of break character and laugh or get out of scene, or is he pretty relaxed about
I don't think
that?
he got fired, but he looked down upon that. He thought it was really hacky. It was kind of like the Carol Burnett show when, those guys would break character, which was funny at the time. We always liked to see that. But I think it got to a point, like none of us, hardly any of us did it. I never did it. Maybe once with Chevy Chase on Weekend Update. But I mean, I did the Chris Farley Chippendales sketch. I was one of the judges on that.
Yeah,
I didn't laugh on that one. I was never
With
gonna
Patrick
laugh.
Swayze?
You were a judge, right?
Yeah, I was a judge, yeah. So, but then I started seeing people, then we started bringing other people in, like Spade would come on and Farley, and, Spade would start laughing a lot, and, Sandler sometimes would break character. But then I noticed as time went on, different casts were almost using it to get laughs. Mm. It's almost like, and that's what Lorne didn't like about it. He thought, let's rely on the material to get laughs and not rely on, breaking character to get laughs.
I know what that's like.
For sure.
Yeah, when you use that as a crutch, it's
It is funny to watch and to see that if it happens rarely.
Right.
But if it's happening every week with this kind of the same people, you're thinking, oh man, I get the Lorne thing,
Right. I saw something that you said, and it sounded like early in your career you were interested in doing impressions, like in your stand-up.
Yeah, I mean, I always, in high school, I loved doing impressions. I thought and I used to love watching impressionists on TV. And, Rich Little and some of these other people. I mean, I thought it was so cool the way somebody could turn their face into looking like somebody and talk like them. So I would do all the standard ones back then, this is a long time ago. It's like Jimmy Stewart and John Wayne. But then I thought, do I want to be doing impressions of other people, or do I want people to be doing impressions of me?
Yeah.
So I thought, I want people to do impressions of me. And that hasn't happened yet. So that might have been the wrong route.
Wow.
That's great.
Yeah, I can see that had to maybe help with the characters and stuff with Saturday Night Live. If you've got this talent for impressions, it's gotta.
Well, the Happy Gilmore impressions that people do, or the Grandma's Boy. Did you write your own character for that, or did
no? That was already kind of established, but I would embellish it and improvise on it. and we would just run with it. Feel the flow, harness the good, block the bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Circular. You put the diamond, carousel goes around and around and around.
Wow.
Send the ball home. Send the ball home.
Feel it. Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty awesome. Like it's never slowed down for you, huh?
It really hasn't. It's never been like skyrocketing, but it's always been kind of like this kind of a grade.
Yeah.
Circular.
and when did Weeds start?
The funny thing about Weeds was I had done SNL for 9 seasons. I left to do a sitcom, which was highly touted. It was with DreamWorks, and it lasted maybe 8 episodes. And then 2 years later, I got another highly touted sitcom with Imagine TV, Brian Grazer, with Richard Lewis and Eugene Levy. And it should have been a great hit. And again, too many cooks in the kitchen, and it got diluted, and it lasted like maybe 8 episodes. And I started thinking to myself, I wonder if I'll ever do a show that'll be as exciting as Saturday Night Live or doing the first Tonight Show, And then I got a script delivered to me, and it was called Weeds. And I thought, oh man, I've seen so many of these stoner movies and scripts, And I thought, wow, this is different. The characters are great. The story's good. The writing is good. And so I auditioned for it, and I got the part. And it was just a guest star in the pilot. And I shot that, and I kind of forgot about it. And then I remember I was at the beach, and I got a phone call from my agent. He goes, remember that pilot you did like 2 months ago? Well, it got picked up for series on Showtime, and they want you to be a regular cast member in it. I thought, sweet.
Wow. Sweet.
So that was that's the thing about this business. Sometimes things come along unexpectedly, and that's the excitement of it too.
When you do a show like Weeds, or with a lot of marijuana involved, does anybody ever really smoke marijuana on the set? During the filming, or it's all bullshit and it's fake weed?
I don't think there'd be a show if they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of it's called honey rose herb is what we smoke. It's a very gentle herb that they roll into a joint or a cigarette. But still, if you're not a smoker, it burns your throat out, And I remember after doing the pilot, in the pilot, I was sitting in an SUV with Mary Louise Parker in Valencia, and it was like 101 degrees, and they can't run the AC when they're shooting because of, the audio. So it was so hot, and I was smoking. They did so many takes, and I was smoking it. And I woke up that night thinking, oh my God, did I give myself throat cancer just for a stupid pilot that'll never be picked up? But, for 8 years, there was a lot of that smoking that honey rose herb. And it was a little potent, too, because we got it from the honey rose herb cartel in Colombia. You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. Man, it's with the Saturday Night Live, they talk about a Saturday Night Live curse where, people become such like household names, and then they're out of control with drugs and alcohol. But that's never been your story. No substance abuse.
Never had been. In fact, when I was on, our cast was, I think, pretty clean. I mean, there were some family people, like Phil Hartman was married. Dennis Miller was married, I think, at the time. And none of these people were, doing drugs or even drinking that much, really. And then the cast started getting bigger, and then Farley came on. And things started getting a little shakier then, younger people. And I remember Farley came by my dressing room once, and he's kind of strung out. And he was knocking on Sandler's dressing room door, and I started talking to him. And, you really can't control somebody or, steer them in one direction. But I said, what are you up to? What are you up to, Farley? What's going on? Just partying. And I said, I forget exactly how I worded it, but we got into a discussion of, are you really being as funny as you can when you're that, high on drugs and then recovering and all that stuff? He goes, well, John Belushi used to do drugs, and he wanted to be just like John Belushi, of course, and in every way. And he says he was his idol. And Belushi died at 33, and Farley died at 33.
Wow.
Same thing. And but every time I would see Farley, we'd always have this little connection where he'd see me, he'd be talking to some people, he'd be laughing, and then he'd see me, and he goes, oh, take it down a notch.
Yeah.
But I was like a little bit older than those guys, like Spade and Sandler and Rock and Farley, and they'd always be in another wing of the writers, level floor. You'd have to go down a hallway and get to their place. It was almost like a dorm, like a college dorm. And I go down there and I felt like the teacher sometimes. I walk in there and they're like, there's food everywhere. There's, like pizza boxes on the floor and, Playboy, magazines and pictures everywhere. And then talking about who they slept with the night before. And, but then there was Chris Rock's office, which is right off that one. And that was impeccable. It was like so tidy. And he had like Malcolm X posters on the wall and, Martin Luther King. So he kind of had it. I think he was amused by what was going on outside of his office, though.
Wait, did you say David Spade sleeping with people? That doesn't sound right.
David Spade is really charming. In fact, when I first got on SNL, I knew him from stand-up. He subletted my room in this house that I had in the Hollywood Hills. So he was subletting from me in the Hollywood Hills. And then he got on the next year. So another guy who screwed me over. I had no one to rent my room anymore. But he's very charming, man. If you sit
he's
down
great.
with him, he just has stories, and he's so self-deprecating. You can't help but like him.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have a mutual buddy in legendary skateboarder Tony Hawk. David Spade is a fairly avid skateboard guy.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Same with Nick Swartzen too.
I saw David Spade in a skate shop. Like he was like trying to get a board. I loved it. I think Nick Swartzen's more like buddies with skaters and a fan of skating, but David Spade will actually ride.
Oh, that's cool.
Wow, I never knew that.
I think I got that right. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I did a hike with him, Steve-O, and it took me about a year to get him. He goes, it's got to be flat. It's got to be a flat hike. Otherwise, I can't do it. And we got to go between rush hour traffic because I don't want to get stuck in rush hour traffic. And I got to have some food because I'm hypoglycemic. So there's so many stipulations,
Yeah.
So, but I guess if he grew up with a skateboard, he's probably used to that.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, the hiking thing is great. And you're still doing that? It seems like you do it in seasons, so.
Yeah. I never started off thinking of seasons. I just did a hike with Matthew Modine, this actor.
Yeah, for sure. Birdie.
Yeah. Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
And I just had my phone in my hand and I was just recording him, And I posted it on my Instagram and then Twitter, just like a minute, 2 minutes. And people started liking it. So I thought I'll hike with somebody different every week. So I started all my friends, and I would post like 3 or 4 different bits from the hike. And then I did Howard Stern once. He goes, you should do a longer version of that. I thought that's a good idea. So I started a YouTube channel. And then, I'm hiking. I've done like 30 hikes. I'm thinking maybe I should end the season, so I'm not like trying to keep up, with hikes. Just call this season 1 and then start banking some hikes, and get some better equipment. And then start season 2, like in September. So that's what I did. But it was cool because I never started off like thinking, okay, there'll be seasons. It was all of it was very organic.
That's good. And what's going on lately? Like what are we promoting right now?
Well, I have this live stream comedy show September 12th on rushtix.com is where people can get their tickets. I think they're $10 right now, but they're going to go up soon once I announce my special guest opener. So that's coming up, and I'm also taking that hiking show, and we're turning it into like a curb type of a show, where it's based around the hikes, the family life, and we've been pitching that, and we've gotten some good bites on that too. So we might be seeing that soon.
Wow, cool.
And you've got 2 books. You're an author, right?
Well, I have one book. It's called Yes, You're Pregnant, But What About Me? Because when my wife was pregnant 13 years ago, she was getting all the attention, and I wasn't. Right. So yeah, you're pregnant, but what about me? Don't I get some attention?
What about Whelmed, but not overly?
That was a stand-up special. I have 2 stand-up specials.
Oh, I thought it was a book for some reason. Okay. Oh, shoot, was it Whelmed, but not overly? That was the one that had the incredible ski mountain bit in it?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
The opening is so good.
Is that, like... I mean, I've seen a lot of your comedy, but the bit about the ski mountain, is that like the one that just got the most heat?
Yeah, I think it went viral, I think, from the Conan show. But that was one of those, bits that I had like in my pocket for a long time. I thought this is too easy. It's got to be too.
It's so good.
And then one day I just started working on it and throwing it out there, and it just kind of took off. And
Yeah.
people loved it, especially in ski areas, Colorado and stuff. They dig it.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I have that whelmed, but not overly. And then
Hear Me Out.
Now Hear Me Out. Yeah, that's the other one. That was based on a joke. When somebody says, now hear me out, you don't want to hear them out. 'Cause it's negative, Like, now hear me out. I'm going to lower you into the well by your ankles. No, hear me out. Hear me out.
Hear me out.
I'm going to be poking you with a barbecue, with a brand iron. Hear me out. Hear me out.
It's so
Right.
good.
There's other things like that too. When somebody says, like, no offense, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
With that said,
The other thing I'm excited about, Steve-O, I don't know about you, but during the pandemic, you kind of find out what you really enjoy doing a lot because you have a lot of free time. And mine is like, I love to draw. So I've been drawing a lot of caricatures.
yeah.
Yeah, we saw that on your Instagram.
On your Instagram, you've got some really incredible art.
Thanks, buddy. And I have one Instagram just totally dedicated to that. It's called Kevin Nealon Artwork.
Okay.
And I've really been having a lot of fun doing that.
All right. Well, I just got on your Kevin Nealon Instagram. I'm going to add the Kevin Nealon artwork too.
Sweet, man. Sweet. I love
Yeah,
it. I love
dude.
that dog, man. That dog loves you.
She's the best, man.
Does she speak English?
She's bilingual.
she's a little fickle. She does what she wants, but
She loves to have her paw rubbed.
yeah.
Yeah, she's a big fan of Scott Randolph over here.
She
So,
lives-
so when you did that Nissan Center in Nashville, you said it sounds like the actual performing the comedy was very, very conservative, very safe. The masks, the cars.
Yeah.
But what about the flight out there? How did you feel about that?
Well, I flew with the performer, so it was private.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah. But even that was kind of, the pilots were quarantined for a long time, and they had their COVID tests before we went on, and they had masks on, and we had masks. We didn't have masks the whole time because we've been potting with them, So our kids are good friends, so they spend a lot of time together. So it all worked out. We felt perfectly safe. But it's interesting now, though. A lot more people are wearing masks. And I don't want to become that mask Nazi, but when I see somebody not wearing a mask, I think, man, that's so like disrespectful.
Yeah. I actually started selling masks. I got I've added it into my merch line. I've got that's my my Steve-O with my big obnoxious teeth, and then I got another one that's a little bit naughty, which I filled my mouth with dishwasher soap.
It's dirty and clean.
Yeah, you see, so you go around wearing that, and
That way you're not disrespectful.
But
that way you can be
hear me out.
respectful. You wear this so that you can be respectful and disrespectful.
When you did Jackass, did you lose any of your teeth?
Not from Jackass, but I got a couple teeth on my little retainer thing right here.
That's from meth.
Yeah. I was never a big fan of meth, but of course I never turned it down.
Did you have to take that out every night when you go to bed?
I don't have to, but I do.
Just when he smokes meth.
Did you play hockey at all?
I didn't play hockey, no, but I was predisposed to poor dental health. I don't know.
Gotta floss.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so I want to get this again one more time. This you said it's September 12th.
September 12th, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. People can get their tickets on RushTix, RushTix.com.
And
it's an hour stand-up. I have an opener, and I'll be sitting right where I am right now. But I might get a green screen and do something maybe a little fancy and tricky with it.
yeah.
The other question was, will you be sitting down or standing up?
Right.
And Albert Brooks told me, he said, you should probably stand up if you're doing stand-up.
Yeah.
And so I'd have to push the computer back
Right.
Get a green screen maybe with like curtains, and then have a stool with a glass of water. And but I don't know. That seems like a lot of work, doesn't it?
I think,
Yeah, but you're Kevin Nealon, so you should probably be Nealon while you do.
Okay.
All right, man. Yeah, you got it still.
I love it. Oh my God. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think,
but I'm excited about it, and you know, we're selling tickets, and like I said, my special guest is going to be opening for me. He's not a comic per se, but he's going to be a big draw.
good.
And,
Exciting.
I
Yeah.
like that. So we'll send everybody to, for the moment, Kevin Nealon on Instagram. I assume that's going to be where the reveal is of the guest's identity.
yeah. Also, rushtix.com. And you know, the great thing about the pandemic too is, even though I haven't been working out in clubs, as you know, you've been gathering a lot of material and areas, as my friend calls it, when you don't have punchlines.
Right.
There are areas. Those are good areres to explore a little more. So I have a whole list of funny things that I would have been working out in the clubs if they were available. So I'm excited about it.
I mean, your whole approach to stand up is so unique. I mean, really. And every time I've ever seen you in the club, I just can't say enough about how thoroughly I enjoy you. I really
thanks,
do, man. I really do.
Thanks.
So everybody's got to see this September 12th performance. I think
Behind the mask.
the question for me, less about whether you stand or sit, is do you plug a microphone in? I think, maybe the sound.
Yeah, there will be a
bit-
microphone.
Yeah, holding a microphone in your hand, however you're positioned. I think that's what stand-up's about for me a little bit.
Yeah, that sells it, man. That sells it. Also, I'm gonna have a waitress walk in front of me.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. Well, hey, man, good luck with the September 12th thing. Thank you so much for doing this with us. It really
Thank
is
you,
an honor,
Steve.
man.
Thanks for having me, buddy. I really appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time.
Dude, you're a legend, and the honor is ours. Maybe we'll get to do one of those hikes one time, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'd love that.
Yeah,
I'd love it. Once I start them up again.
Yeah, I know it took a long time to get Spade. It's taking a little longer with me, but, I'll meet you in the middle.
All right, bring your tooth with you.
Yeah, I will, brother. Hey, thank you so much, Kevin.
All right, thanks, you guys.
Thanks, Kevin.
See ya.
Take care. Dude, not just a legend of comedy, he's just a legend as a dude, man. I really like him, and I like you for sticking around this long. As always, the street team, please let Kevin Nealon know that you enjoyed the show, and check out that thing he's got in 2 days, September 12th. Yeah, make sure that you do that, and I love you guys, and I'm getting back in my Helix bed.